I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigars.
Don't be an asshole today. There you go. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about this, but there's like some panic buying going on where gas is concerned, petrol, fuel. There's problems at the borders, to get through with anything. So they're sitting in their trucks for like all these hours and everything. The pay is shitty. So there's all kinds of issues, and so there's just not enough drivers, and they've brought in the Army to train them to drive the big tanker trucks. And I can't even tell, like, I live behind a Shell station.
Yeah.
Right. So on my main road that it's on, the traffic is backed up for almost 2 miles in both directions. So people that are either trying to get out of my street or to get from the train station, the buses trying to leave the train station can't, people, the horns and the beeping, the yelling, like I can hear it from my living room. This is like day 3.
Oh my God.
Affects like your Amazon deliveries, and like I'm thinking, I can't even imagine like if an Amazon truck is trying to get down our main street, right now, like having to go the line of cars and navigate all that. I mean, it's brutal, and it's everywhere. And a lot of it too is like if you go try and order stuff, like I do my grocery shopping online, like you'll click on something, it'll say out of stock, and it's like, oh my God, everything I need out of stock. And it's like, oh, holy crap. So,
everywhere. I know it's affecting my business, but we just hired a truck driver, but we couldn't get a driver. So it's a crisis. So what are you drinking there today, Denise?
Well, here's the thing. I have done a little research on bourbon, and I saw something called Shanky's Whip. Doesn't sound great, does it? It doesn't sound great. But
is that a liquor? What is that?
It's an Irish whiskey, but it's made with a vanilla liqueur. So I thought
that sounds good.
Yeah. I saw that and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna make my own. So I made a little bourbon with vanilla cream soda.
Wow.
And it's
nice blend.
Amazing. I was still like trying to stick with bourbons, even though I had to go off a little bit with the Irish whiskey with the vanilla liqueur. I found a bourbon that's made with vanilla, and that's called Dixie Pete.
Okay.
So that's coming next week. So I've got the one coming tomorrow and one coming next week. But just because I had it in my head, I've made my own.
That sounds like a wonderful pairing. I today, in honor of having Pattie on the show, she was for a long time singing with the Norwegian cruise lines. I am drinking Mount Gay.
Very good. Yeah. Caribbean.
From Black Barrel. So cheers to you.
Cheers to you, my friend. So should we let Pattie in and then explain who she is and what she does, or do you want to say it now?
No, okay. Let's let her in. Pattie.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Denise, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Pattie. I just said to JD, I have visions of a singing realtor, and all I can think of is like, walking up to a house doing a little jazz, like we're at 21.
Hey, so I'm open to that. I could do that. I've been known to break into song. How are you guys doing?
Strumming, waiting for him to show up. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show today. Denise just was asking how we came to know each other. We were both playing for a benefit for the disabled veterans a few years back. And so we met through music and through our love of music and philanthropy coming together. That's part of
That's
what you do
wonderful.
that I love. But I love the way you have reinvented and how we have to do that as human beings and especially as women. And I know you've been an artist, a singer most of your career, but now you've done many things, and being a realtor is the newest on the list, the latest. So can you tell us a little about how that came to be and what that exactly is?
Well, thanks to 2020 being the year of change,
Garbage.
I just joined the tide. I mean, I just decided to go with that flow of, I'm a big person that believes in just accepting and breathing it in and dealing with what you got to do. And, my husband and I have been musicians for, 30 years almost together, traveling the world. So lucky. I have our little logo back there, JP.
I like it.
Thank you. And we're on a ship in Hawaii, of all places, like the most beautiful place. And we're so lucky. We've been guest entertainers on the Pride of America ship that Norwegian Cruise Line owns. The Pride of America is a great place. And we got there and we're like, oh, we're going to do an 8-week contract out here. It's so good to be back. We were lucky to be there before, flew from Florida all the way, 2 weeks in, getting our shows up and running, doing it great. And the cruise director calls us and says, you're not going to believe this. There's like a virus and we think you guys are going home. And we're like, oh, okay, when's that going to be? Do you know? Yeah, we got you going in 2 days. You're going back home in 2 days. And we just packed everything up, and like the rest of the world thought, okay, we'll go for a couple of months. We had another one coming up, a little later in the year. And we thought, hey, okay, we'll be back, whatever. And we got stuck at home with everybody else. So what to do? I mean, everybody's in that place, but he and I, we've been traveling and we've been nomads since we met in 1992. He was an entertainment director for Club Med Resorts, and I went with my girlfriend on vacation and we were hanging out there and he offered me a job. And I said, I work in the music business. I have a serious job. And I went back to New York to the cold winter and looked at the ice in the driveway of my parents' home where I was still living. And I thought, am I crazy? I'm going to Mexico, hang out with this cute guy. And, very long story short, he became my husband and we started traveling together. And we've always adapted and just either lived in a small cabin on a ship or lived in a small room at a Club Med resort on some beach, or, went to Japan, first gig ever internationally with 50 songs in our pocket, and said to the agent, sure, we could do a contract in Japan, and just started learning tunes together as a cover band because, hey, they were going to start paying me to see the world. Right. So, we are good at bouncing back. And through the years, we met amazing people. And the way I met JD was through one of those amazing people. There was an art auctioneer I met who turned out to be a Vietnam vet. And he was the commander of the 133 unit out of Miami, the Disabled American Veterans. And they had just built Pompano City Center, the new shopping mall. And he said, hey, there's this new mall, and maybe we're going to do a show. And there's a really cool chick there named JD Danner. We've seen her play before. You're going to love her.
And I didn't know that part of the story. Thanks for sharing that.
You know what? And they had already seen you and been huge fans of yours. So we got there to the show and they had remember they had the custom car show too, the 50s
Yes,
cars?
I was just going to say it was a classic car show and the music and fundraiser for the Disabled American Veterans.
Yeah. And we showed up and there was our stage and there was JD playing her guitar solo, belting it out like nobody's business, because that's what she does. And I thought, you know what I kept thinking too? I'm such a New Yorker. I kept thinking, I hope she's as cool as she looks on stage. I just wanted to get up there and just go, hey, nice set, and whatever. And she was,
I did. I lived
did.
up to the coolness. Oh, that's so really even so much better to know. Thank you.
Look at you. You're totally cool. And cool is important to New Yorkers and to musicians, right? That especially women.
It is.
You ladies know what I'm talking about. That whole, I'm not about that. I'm very much about being one of the guys in the band, you know? So
Yeah.
very long story short, that's
Yeah.
how I came to be the singing agent. COVID threw me into this new world of sitting at home. And I didn't do it right away. I took a course online with a New York coach, wonderful coach. I did a 12-week artistry course when I first got home, and I retrained my voice. And I thought, hey, after 25 years of like tearing into my throat, I can actually maybe heal it. So I did that. I had fun. I did a new video. I wrote some music with friends in California, and still there was no work coming in. And we were starting to get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do? I said, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I could do this online. So, you know, I went to NYU in New York. I had a double degree my whole life. I did music and business. I always thought those two parts of my life would go together anyway. So
Yeah.
I was telling JD earlier this morning, you know, I got my left brain and my right brain always fighting each other, always fighting each other.
Mine too. Yeah. I love that you enhanced your music, and then when you did that course, you went and did something else, and like I said, like reinvented, changed the course, started another chapter. Like so many of us have to, but a lot of people get stuck and they can't figure out what else to do, and it's easy to get stuck in that place. So it takes a lot of commitment and fortitude to persevere and say, what else am I going to do? But I think as musicians, we have to do that anyway, right? We just have to constantly, I know I've had to reinvent so many times, you know, musically, style wise, and where I play and who I play with. So I think it's great that you follow through with that, because it's not everyone can make those changes that way.
Thank you. You know, I really felt like I had no choice. I really felt like there was no room for failure. I felt emboldened. I felt strong enough to do it. I don't know. So I got this tunnel vision. I can't even explain it to you. My husband kind of freaked out because I was like, I'm going to do this in 8 weeks. You know, people were like, oh, it could be a couple months. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it in 8 weeks. I'm just going to sit down on my dining room table and lay it out. And I just got addicted to it and said, I got to get this done. I've always been kind of an overachiever, you know. You know, and
That'll
tragically,
bode well
I
in
had
real
a
estate.
what? Say that again.
That'll bode well in real estate. Overachieving.
The overachieving,
Yeah.
and the rolling off the shoulder when you're rejected, right? Because every performer knows what it's like to say,
Yes.
okay, great audition, Patty. Not exactly what we're looking for. Next. And you just get used to saying, you know, it's not me, it's whatever
Right.
they're looking for. And it's the same thing with a house. You
Yeah.
know, I work a lot with people that are looking for what they really, really want to be a primary part of their life. And I like hitting that spot with somebody. To me, it's all about really caring in that situation. I think being a performer makes you a little more naked in front of people. So being vulnerable, you know what being vulnerable is,
Yeah.
and how to treat it from the other side. It gives you a little compassion.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel. And I think that gives me the compassion. I remember what it was like to look for a house. I was scared out of my mind, and I was in another state. I came from New York, and I'm like, what am I doing? Where are they taking me? I'm spending all my money. You know, it's a big deal. And I try to forget that stuff.
Do you sing at all at these, when you meet a client? Do you give them a CD, or do you share a song with them when you sell a house?
That's a great question.
When people ring a bell.
In the beginning, I think I was really not timid. I wanted to let them know I was a serious realtor. Very, very
I was
much.
going to say, like, the professional.
Yeah, I really stress the fact that I have a business degree from NYU. I stress the fact that I worked in the music business also after college, you know.
Yeah.
And I did music conventions, and I put together large events in the heavy metal and hard rock world, believe it or not. I met a lot of fascinating people, and I learned how to organize like a lot of different moving parts, which is what real estate is, right? It's like, appraisal and inspection, and you got so much going on. People think it's just the buying and selling, but there's a lot. And, I try to, have them take me seriously first. And then when I get to the point where the deal's almost ready to go, I guess I'm giving it away now being here at the podcast, right? I kind of let them know later. Like if I hear somebody sing, I'm like, wow, you have a great voice. Do you do a lot of karaoke? Yeah. Do you like karaoke? And then I'll say, well, I kind of sing, I have a music degree. I've been singing. And of course you get the whole, give us a little tune. Yeah. And so I always sing them happy birthday, because that's the only one I do for free, I was like, but yeah, I let them know I'm musical, and I try to bond with it if it becomes important in the relationship. But sometimes you get a certain type of person where you just know it's not right to let them know that, or they may feel like it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I don't want to step on the toes of what I'm there to do, Like I said, the right and the left are fighting all the time in there,
I get that. I get that too, because I have a business that has nothing to do with music, but it's my family business, and it's really what, for the most part, for me, has always paid the bills. So, I've not been a career musician where that's what sustained me. As much as I take it seriously, it's like always been my second career. So I know the right brain, left brain fight all the time. That struggle is real. But I got to tell you, I love the dynamic that you get to do this with your partner, with your husband, because to me, I think that's such a special dynamic that most people don't have, because most musicians I know, their partners have nothing to do with music or don't want anything to do with music. And then there are people who can't do it together because they argue, like they start butting heads. Yes. So I just love that you guys have done it for so many years successfully, and you love what you do, and you're still in love with each other, because I think when it works, there's something so magical about sharing the stage with the person that you're with your person, and sharing that experience. There is nothing really like that. If it works, if you can get it to work, and still talk to each other at the end of the night.
I so agree with the magic part of it. There have been times when we've looked at each other on stage and just something happens, as an entertainer, the bond you get sometimes in a moment in a song when you just know everybody's there together. It's not about like you on the stage and them in the audience. You suddenly kind of like, you're in the room together, feeling the vibration of a song or the message in the song, and everyone's like in that same place. Well, when I do that and I turn over to see my husband standing there playing guitar, and he looks at me and he gets it too, both of us are like, it's like the best bottle of wine you ever had. I mean, I can't even explain it, because by yourself it's something, but when it's magnified by two, like what song is it? The Indigo Girls, the power of two. They talk about that in the song.
Yeah.
When life's magnified by the power of two, but then when performance magic is magnified like that, it's the best. And I married my best friend. This guy is the best guy, I can't say enough about marriage. I think it's so much fun, but you got to do it with somebody who's your best friend, because I think, of course, the physical attraction is so important, and it lets you have the intimacy you need for the true bonding. But over time, what you need is this person that just doesn't have to take you seriously all the time, or brings you down a peg, or when you get stressed, lifts you up, and the more we've gone through, we've been through all the tragedies and all the wonderful things that happen in every family. And I wouldn't want to experience what I have without him, because it has been such a treat, because he's such a joyous person. So I got lucky, girls. I mean, I got super lucky. I'll just say that, he's cute, he's talented, he's a really good guy. And he lets me be as much or as little as I want to be on every given day. And that's awesome.
You cool. Can't ask for more than that, can you?
No, when I first met him, he was a solo guitar guy and he was charming, spoke a couple languages, and chicks would come on to him after the gig and I'd walk away. Like, I'd be like, all right, see you later. Bye, and just leave him there. Like, I wasn't worried about it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think that way. I've always thought that life is just too short for being jealous and just.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
it's
where
really
it's important to
wasteful
have
me.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have that security where you're secure in knowing that's part of the gig. The people coming up and complimenting you, and the guys are going to probably get the women at the end of the night. I'm sure you had men coming up to you. I think that it's awesome that people can maintain their marriage or their bond and still maneuver through those waters, so to speak. Which, speaking of that, you guys played the cruise circuit for many years.
Many years.
Have something coming up, a private cruise coming up.
Yeah, we have the Jozay and Patti private cruise coming up. We've built a fan base over the years, and we have a Facebook page and our Instagram following, and people that we've known since the beginning, who saw us when we had only those 50 songs in our repertoire. And they've seen us grow into becoming entertainers that headline fundraisers that raised thousands upon thousands of dollars in different parts of the country. And throughout that whole process, I've always been really good about keeping in touch with people and really connecting with some people. And remind me to tell you about that connection, because it happened to me at a showing on Sunday. I couldn't believe it. Remind me about that moment. It was so funny. And yeah, so we have this cruise. I mean, we're going to do it in 2020, and the cruise got canceled. And so we're doing it 2022, October 28th. If you're out there, if you're a cruiser, go to jozayandpatti.com. There's news about it. And we have a fabulous set of travel agents that we worked with when we were sailing out of Boston. They used to bring these bands on. They brought the Doo-Wop Hall of Fame people on board. And so we had people that had like played with Hendrix and in the 60s.
Yeah.
We had just fabulous musicians that came on, and then they did private cruises, and they just approached us really and said, hey, if you guys ever want to, do a cruise, we know you have a following, we'd love to help you. And we thought, well, I don't know, let's think about it. And we finally put our heads together and said, all right, I think we're ready to do it. We have our shows. We have a Neil Diamond and Friends show. We have a 60s flashback show. So I do Janis Joplin, and I do all kinds of stuff like Petula Clark, and we do the Shirelles and all the great Carole King. He does Neil Diamond, Johnny Cash, like really, really fun stuff. And so combined with the shows we can present and then all the people we knew, we thought, all right, let's give this a go. And they started booking, and then we had to cancel everything. And I'm hoping it gets like bigger and better. So I'm telling all those people that book, like, well, now you can bring people, you have enough time,
Right. Right.
It's going to sail out of Boston to Bermuda, October 28th. It's a 7-day cruise.
Great.
It'll be on the Norwegian Pearl. So there I said it, I plugged Norwegian Cruise Line, who's been very good to us for 20 years. They really have been. And proud to be on that ship that has a bowling alley. So have you ever bowled at sea? I mean, come on.
No.
I have not.
Neither have I.
Can't
The
drag
stuff
me out
that
of the
we do.
casinos.
That's our big thing. I can't wait to see all our fans that we haven't seen. And it's everybody. It's everybody that feels that way. It's mothers, fathers, daughters, it's performers. Like,
We talked this morning and you told me that you have something coming up in New Hampshire for at the how do you pronounce that?
the Nashua Community Center. Yeah, that's actually a public show we have available in New Hampshire. And we play New Hampshire with a couple of different associations. And this year we couldn't do the Prostate Cancer Coalition of New Hampshire. We usually raise money for them at the Palace Theater, great venue.
Yeah.
So we decided to go up to New Hampshire and do, a paid show for their community who has hired us before. But we just did a huge fundraiser. August 20th, we were in Salisbury, Massachusetts, and we played the Blue Ocean Music Hall. So there's another plug, right? The Blue Ocean Music Hall is right on the water on the beach. Best dressing room I've ever had in my life. It's got windows all the way to the ocean, and you can go outside and get fried clams and hang out at the beach and then go do a show. And like, you know, the last time we had played there, Todd Rundgren had been there, and just the
Nice.
people that go through there, it's a phenomenal space. And we raised money for the foster kids of Merrimack Valley. The people that run it, Eileen and Larry Giordano. Larry was a foster kid himself and wrote a book about it, and didn't like the fact, and they don't like the fact that they help foster kids. And then when the kids turn 18, they're kind of let out on the street to be many times homeless.
Yeah.
And you know, we met them as passengers on a ship, the founders of this fundraiser. And it just made me angry. I don't know what it was. I don't like when kids get left in the dark. And I said, you know, is there anything we could do? And he said, you know, you want to do a fundraiser, we'll do a show. And we did it a couple of years ago. It was phenomenal. People came out. Our fan base really supported it, and their whole community, like people donate advertising and bottles of wine, and they auction stuff off. And so now we've become a part of their group, and we get to do it, hopefully, you know, maybe once a year, once things pick up again. Hopefully again, we'll be back in another year or two. And the Prostate Cancer Coalition is another association that we met because the board member at the Palace Theater, Richard and Ann Hatton, they are a big part of the Prostate Cancer Coalition, to raise money for awareness for men. We have all these awarenesses for women, and you know,
Right.
little plug for the guys. You know, I believe in men
Right.
too. We became a part of that, and that was, you know, a historic theater to be able to play in New Hampshire at the Palace Theater, where vaudevillian performers used to perform. And if the walls of the basement dressing rooms could talk, he said they probably would have whispered Louis Armstrong or all the people that probably went through those halls. So I
Yeah.
just feel, God, you know, when someone asks you to do that, how do you not say yes, right? And so now we're friends with them and we partner with them. And so there's a plug for them too. If you're in New England or wherever you are in the country, you know, pick a couple of places and give back. I don't, you know, bake cookies for them, do a show. You don't have to sing, right? Like, open a door. When you see somebody can't open a door, that's the best giving you can give anybody, is that the immediate little thing that you can make a choice to do right now.
Right.
I think.
What do you have? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you have a special connection to the New England area? Because I noticed that a lot of your special events are up that way.
Yeah, it's the following we developed, you know, sailing out of Boston so many years. We sailed out of New York quite a bit. So we also have our following in New York and Long Island. You know, I grew up in Queens. I went to NYU. I grew up my whole life there. But because I think we sailed so much out of Boston, we just started focusing our efforts there. And that's where the work came. So New York, if you want to hire us, we're there too. You know, we did play in Monticello. We just played in Camelot Woods, upstate New York, just after that Salisbury gig. So that was a nice August. It was the first trip where we left Florida after we got sent home from Hawaii. It was last month. And I can't tell you, I was like a horse let out of a stable. We were both just like, what? So, you know, we did that was cool. You guys are going to appreciate this. We did a road trip from Portland, Maine, where we were staying at Jozay's sister's house, my husband's sister's house. And we drove to upstate New York. And you know what we drove through? And we stopped in for the first time ever, Woodstock. And we did the whole tour. I was so excited. And we got to see where the stage was. And like, for all you musicians out there, if you haven't stood on that holy ground, do it. There was something, you know, doing especially a Janis Joplin song in our 60s show to me, that was so, I don't know, it filled me with the vibes. You know, I was looking to get the universe to give me a little boost, like, yeah, my music career is here too, and my love for it's here. You could hear it in the wind. You can hear it in the wind there. That farm is there. Yeah, have you done it? Have you gone?
I haven't been.
I haven't been. I grew up in upstate, upstate, like Niagara Falls on the New York side, and never went to New York City. Never went to Woodstock.
Like most of
They
us.
never let us out.
Oh man, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You feel at home in that part of the country. There's something, as a musician, I think that's in the air there. There's something magical that happened.
Yeah,
and you
I have very musical family. My uncle was a singer, and
Really?
toured around all those areas and all that. And he, he's like 80 now, but there was just a big family event at my cousin's house, and everybody sent me videos of him singing, and I was like, oh my God, he sounds so good. He's 80. So yeah, it's in the air up there. You're right.
I think it keeps you young. I think music keeps you spiritually young when you continue to do it. I don't know how you feel about that, Patty, but I definitely think that it might keep the cool factor up a little bit too. Wasn't a-
I think vibrationally, playing an instrument you can hold, I don't play guitar in public. I would never say I play guitar. I could play a couple of chords and write, but holding a guitar or being a vocalist and feeling the vibrations in your body, I definitely know down in my soul that music is a vibrational energy that just keeps everything else going, because you get to really live in the moment of the songs you do. And I think people don't allow themselves that stuff. They say anxiety is worrying about the future and depression is thinking about the past, but living in the moment, like singing and performing, which is what meditation is. And I do a lot of tapping, I'm kind of a health nut too. So I run, and I've always eaten well. And I've believed that your temple, your body, the thing you take care of, it's just a vibrational space. And if you let it ring, it relaxes, it gets rid of disease. I just really do think so. I mean, I'm not saying musicians don't get sick, but I'm saying for me personally, it's definitely kept me happier.
Oh yeah, it's a stress release, definitely a stress
Yeah.
relief.
Yeah.
So you have, I want to make sure I get this in. You have
Yeah.
a Mama Cass story you wanted to share with us.
I have a
Speaking
great
of
Mama Cass
Woodstock.
story. I never met her personally, but I'm a big fan, and I sing "Dream a Little Dream of Me" a lot in our shows, and it just happens to be one of my top 5 to sing. There's
I
something
love
about
that
it.
song. It's
Me
it's an
too.
awesome song.
I I don't have kids. I love kids. I've just chosen to travel instead, and I have 26 nieces and nephews all over North America and South America, and I believe I always sing it to a child in my head. I'm always singing that song to a child, and it's like a putting a child to bed song for me. And I was we were warming up for a show up in Leesburg, Florida. We did a tour of the West Coast a couple years ago, and I'm getting ready for the show, and we're doing the sound check and putting stuff up on stage, and an older woman comes in with her much older mom, and they sit right in the front row. And usually I just say to them, okay, hey, we're doing a sound check. If you don't mind, it might get a little loud. I don't know if you guys want to sit so close. And she's like, no, my mom loves music, and she's probably going to be asleep by the time your show starts. So she wanted to see some music. And I was like, great, awesome, welcome. So I Dream a Little Dream of Me. And when I finished the song, I went down and I met her and I shook her hand and I thanked her for coming by. And it's just what we've always done. And she sits and she says, yeah, I just got to tell you an amazing story about my mom. My mom was little and grew up in New York. And it was at the time when, it was different at airports. It was pre 9/11. So it was a little easier to get onto all kinds of areas and all kinds of secure places. So a lot of the people in New York, I guess, or at least this family, to pass the time, would say, hey, when the international flights come in with celebrities on them, there's a part of the JFK International Terminal when you can see them coming off the international flight and they walk right past you, getting to their national flights. So they knew the mamas and the papas were going to be going through and coming off a flight off of Europe and going back to California. So they had to go through with it's like roped off. And you as almost like an audience member can watch them go by with everybody disembarking, right? So they took their little girl, the mom that's sitting there at the table watching us, and she screams because she sees Mama Cass getting off the plane, and she's like, Mama Cass, I love you. And Mama Cass looks down at her and says, you know who I am? You're 5 years old. How do you know who I am? And she said, my mom sings your song to me all the time. Dream a little dream of me, blah, 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 whatever. And Mama Cass said, she does. And she went right under the rope and took the little girl by the hand and sat on a chair with her and put her on her lap And right then and there sang to her a cappella, the whole song, and then
Oh,
put her down and went
Oh.
and met the band to take her flight.
Oh,
And
how
then I was like, okay, I love Mama Cass even more now.
Oh, wow. What a great story.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And what a lesson in, like, no matter who you are in the world, you can make a difference in one person's life. Because obviously
Yeah.
that woman remembered that story enough to make it folklore in her family and then tell me about it. And now we're sharing it with the world, right? Like, I think the kindness of one human being just made another 3 of us happy.
Yeah.
And that stuff isn't lost on me. That's vibrational, positive, happy, woohoo stuff, you know?
That's
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like such a great story, such a great history and journey that you're on. It's incredible. I'm so impressed. We've got about 3 minutes left, so I want to let people know where to find you, how to join the cruise if they want, and where can they get all your information?
So easy to find me. I had got 2 great websites. I've got, www.jozayandpatti.com. So it's spelled JOZAYANDPATTI.com. That has links to all our sites. We have videos on YouTube. We did 67 videos from our treehouse. We live in a treehouse in the sky, condo by the ocean.
Oh,
And
nice.
so that's another thing we did during COVID, just to squeeze that in. We recorded for people from home. We ordered all these banners. We had them made. We had a logo made, and we performed for free for people and posted it on our YouTube channel. So it has links to that, to our Instagram. And then Patty, as a realtor, you want a singing agent? You want to list or sell?
I do. Yeah. Just looking in Coral Springs, I'm just looking for a 2-bedroom for a condo for 150 or under.
All right. So we'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Great.
And then pdavilahomes.com is really easy to find. You can find me at Century 21. And I will tell you this, people think they know so much about real estate. I really thought I did, having bought a home and done my research, but it's so much more, especially now. There's so much going on at the same time, trying to get to that closing. Feel free to call me. I can give you some advice. I can refer you across the country. I have a huge network. And I'm at Century 21 Hanson Realty, the best place to be, right by the ocean.
That's amazing. Great. That is,
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'll be there in February. We'll talk.
Oh, I love it. And what a treat for me. I've never done a podcast before. I'm so happy to be doing it. If you guys ever want me back, I'd love it. I'm going to say it right now. But yeah, I'm going to plug you to my friends and to know that this podcast exists. Let's let it grow. Let's get it going.
Perfect.
And,
Yeah.
That's great.
Tune in, everybody.
We'll send you, we'll make sure you get all the links so that you can upload to wherever you want to put it. We're happy with
You better
it.
believe I will. You better believe it.
Oh,
I
well,
love
thank
this.
you.
Girl power.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you for being
Exactly. I
on.
feel so empowered now.
I love it. Positive vibes all around. Just live in the moment. That's, it's what I'm about. I mean, make the best of it all. Look what you guys are doing. You're doing a podcast. You ever think you would do that?
No,
This was
not again.
It was a result of the pandemic and wanting to do something. And Denise and I know each other so many years. Denise is a veteran podcaster, so
Okay.
I just
had
said
an
I
original.
just said to Gemma, did you know that there are now 25 million podcasts out there, and 20 million of them started? The 20 million number is from 2019 to present.
Wow.
So there was only 5 million before that. And I was
I
like, we were
believe it.
doing this in 2006 when it was so hard. And
You were
now it's like you flip the
groundbreakers.
switch, yeah. So
Yeah.
I can't
I'm
believe
glad
it.
it's gotten easier.
Well, if you ever need help doing anything, I'm always open. I just believe in everybody giving. And I did not forget, ladies, I had a glass of wine because I am Italian. So
Oh, cheers to that.
I got a
Let's
little
do a big
red wine.
cheers to
Cheers to
end.
my friends.
Excellent.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you for
there we
having me
go.
on. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much. Bye.
He drank way too much whiskey.
Like, never stop chasing your dreams.